bigger. Chapter 10, page 86, last line of the page. Graybeard chortled. Well, now, ain't he a man to draw to? He shifted his weight against his shovel, eager to interrupt the job he'd been doing. Heard a story about him the other day. Listen, Shelby commandeered 3 whole wagon loads of food from the Federals: rice, beans, flour, cornmeal, coffee. His rebs won't go hungry, that's for sure. He's headed for a place called Eagle Pass on the border between Texas and Mexico. Says no fool Yankee will take him alive. The gravedigger's small eyes were bright with grudging respect. Who can tell? Maybe your pa's with Shelby, not in jail like poor old Jeff Davis. As he listened, glad for the news, something about the spot where he stood nibbled at Tyler's thoughts. This place, he asked, glancing about, was it one of the big battlefields? Not like Gettysburg or Antietam or Shiloh, where men stuck wads of cotton in their ears to cut the sound of the guns and got killed by tens of hundreds, but big enough. This here's Pea Ridge, young feller. The Union won in the end, but let me ask you, what kind of victory is it when more than 1,000 men on each side go down? Same thing happened at Wilson's Creek. Sure, that time it was the Rebs who carried the day, but more than 1,000 boys on each side fell there too. As he spoke, a look came into Graybeard's eye that reminded Tyler of the expression in the strangers that night at Sweet Creek. Such men seemed to have seen too much, to have looked on sights they couldn't unsee or unremember. The old man pointed to the row of skulls. "Look at 'em," he ordered, his voice brusque, and Tyler found himself staring in spite of himself. The skulls lying scattered in the green grass, stripped clean of flesh and hair, were smaller than Tyler imagined grown men's would be, and looked so alike he couldn't tell one from the other. "That's right, Sonny. No way to know now if their uniforms were blue or gray, is there?" Graybeard demanded. "No way to know if they were fat or lean, had blue eyes or brown. Dead. All men look alike. These chaps are brothers now, whether they aim to be in life or not." A feeling came over Tyler that was not one he'd have called sad or mournful. It was much larger, more complex than that. It sucked the spirit right out of him. He looked up at the sky, away from the green field in which the crowns of dead men's skulls blossomed like pale, round flowers. Overhead, the dome of the world was silent, empty, save for an occasional hawk or a drifting cloud. It was obscene to know that when he lowered his eyes again, he'd again bear witness to the clean white bones of arms and legs, the strange permanent smiles fixed on skulls scattered in the grass. "I got to be going," he muttered, barely able to get the words out, turning away without asking how far it was to Texas. "Grab yourself a pair of them shoes if you need 'em," Graybeard invited, pointing at one of the piles. Tyler snatched up a pair, remembering that he didn't have extra ones now that he had given his others to Isaac. He didn't take time to say goodbye to the gravediggers. If he lingered, Graybeard might decide to tell him more he didn't want to hear. By the time he reached the edge of the green field, Tyler was running as hard as he could, the dead man's shoes slapping against his hip as he flew, a name burning in his brain: Eagle Pass. That night, Tyler read hungrily from one of Papa's letters again. He had to bring Papa nearer, to reread words he had already read dozens of times, to make sure he wasn't dead like those men being reburied in the peaceful green field on Pea Ridge. He read the words hungrily, as if they were fresh. "It's a strange thing," Papa wrote, "but a big part of war is not having much to do. We've been camped for many days in a pretty woods with a fine stream running through it. Nearby, our horses have good pasture for grazing. The scene he painted was so unlike the ones the grave diggers had spoken of that it was as if the old man and Papa spoke of different wars. Wife, tell sons Ty and Lucas I've learned a fine new game. The boys in the brigade think it's a jolly way to spend an afternoon. It's called baseball, and I aim to teach fellers up and down Sweet Creek how to play it when I come home. When I come home. There, Papa said it himself, when I come home. Tyler felt the 4 words nestle side by side in his heart, softer and sweeter than new-hatched robins in their mother's nest. Once again, Papa became a merry, laughing gypsy sort of man. Most important of all, he was not dead. Not dead. Not dead. "Sometimes we play cards. Other times it's marbles," Papa went on. "And ask Ty if he still has that Aggie I brought home to him for his birthday a long time back. I think of you each day, family, and pray that you all stay well." Tyler refolded the letter, then fetched the Aggie out of his pocket. "Just like your eye, Bigger," he said when Bigger moved closer. The fire glimmered through the Aggie, turning it mauve instead of blue. "It's going to bring us luck. I just know it will. Long as we have this, we're sure to find Papa." To know that Papa had learned a fine new game, that he remembered the Aggie, soothed the ache in Tyler's heart. He wouldn't think about Pea Ridge any more, about rusted belt buckles, bones as white as marble, or skulls that bloomed like strange flowers in the afternoon sun. Perhaps Pea Ridge was an aberration, one of only a few fields where dead men had to be reburied. Tyler was glad Papa filled his letters instead with stories about learning new games, of generals with hearts like mountain lions, most of all of men who made it through their battles. He didn't want to think any more about the ones who hadn't. End of chapter 10.